Next, moving on to the Miami Dolphins here now, Joe.
Yes.
We just talked about them quick. They're going to have some good defense. They added more depth and speed too on top of it on the offense. They added a veteran in Odell Beckham Jr. too as well. So they're just trying to up their game up and get better and try and make a bigger push this time, get farther than they did before.
Yeah, and the last season, what was the big problem? They kind of like wobbled into the playoffs with no defensive ends. Like they had nobody, everybody was hurt. They ended up grabbing guys off the street like Justin Houston, you know what I mean? And just said, here, go after it, get to the quarterback, so I hope, like, when you look at the team now, all right, on paper anyways, they added Calais Campbell, a veteran defensive lineman who's going to come in and look to help out these younger guys, get them a little bit more developed than what they already are. Tyir Tart, who came over from Houston, I feel like is going to be one of these names that are a little bit overlooked in terms of like, oh, he's a nose tackle, blah, blah, blah. Like, this guy is a very good player. I feel like the Dolphins got themselves a steal, in free agency there. And Zach Seiler, the other D end, he's starting to play better. He comes over from Baltimore. So it's interesting how they've managed to piece in free agents here and there, trying to fill some of these holes because they've lost some players too. You look at Christian Wilkins, the biggest loss of them all. They bring in Calais Campbell to kind of fill that role, hoping that he can last a whole season. Guy's got like the fountain of youth. He's like approaching 40 now in the NFL, still able to get the job done. What I do like what they did too in this past draft, though, is they added another pass rusher, another potential type of player in Chop Robinson, who's very fast. And we kind of joked about it in the draft about how Miami drafts speed. And literally every position that they've just about taken is all fast guys, whether it be a defensive end like Chop Robinson, one of the fastest guys coming out in the draft, or it could be a corner, it could be a wide receiver. So it's kind of hilarious on how they keep staying with the whole the whole mindset of hey, you can't teach speed. We're just going to have it all on our roster. So even that being said, with the defense, we talk about speed. You look at the linebacking core too. David Long Jr. coming over from Tennessee, Jordan Brooks coming over from Seattle, Bradley Chubb coming over from Denver, that they were able to get a trade for last season. They managed to compile all these linebackers, but guess what? They all have something in common, guys. And what is it? Speed. These guys go sideline to sideline. They're going to be flying all over the football field, and that's kind of what this new defense is going to look like. Every position, they're not going to be slow. They're going to be fast, get to the ball, tackle the ball carrier, and move on to the next play. It's going to be kind of exciting to watch this team on how they format this defense. Are they going to blitz like they used to? Are they going to kind of hold back and just play coverage? That's what I'm curious about. And then you look at their secondary. Their secondary is pretty darn solid. They managed to get big free agent signing Kendall Fuller, one of the best corners available in free agency. Jordan Poyer comes over from Buffalo. Everybody joins the division rival and teams him up with Javon Holland, who was injured last year too, along with Jalen Ramsey. Everybody knows him. So and then beyond that, you look at the fact that they have Marcus May as a backup. I think that is a huge, huge addition for them, especially with the injuries that may pop up from time to time. Miami usually has that issue in the secondary, and they have good depth beyond that. So I like the defense and where they're at right now, Jim. I don't know if you want to add anything to that about the defense, or you want to move on to the offense.
Yeah, the defense, again, they've got some solid, young guys, but then they also have that mix of the veterans there too as well. Like you said, he even got in the linebacking core up front. So yeah, I think they're all together. They're good. They're there to try and make a push. And I think this is the right time here too, where like I said, the way I looked at Buffalo, I'm kind of on the lines of, I think they do take a little bit of a step back, even though, yes, they've kind of been there. They've made their push. They've done their thing, but I think still that they have a little bit of a learning curve here with some of this and not having that weapon, because you looked at Josh Allen before and he did okay, but he wasn't until really he got that guy where he really kind of emerged. And last year, we did start to see some of the mistakes that he made and things, and some of the turnovers back to kind of the old Josh Allen here, too. So facing a team and a defense like this, like I said, in this division, it's going to be tough. So this defense is going to be tough on him week to week. And, some additions, like I love even stealing Jordan Poyer from that team in the Bills. I think is a great addition for them. A ball hawk there altogether on that back end. And with this offense too, I'm looking to see this team try and tire of like a Bills team out or their opponents. Just tire them out, go fast. You know what I mean? And they're conditioned that way too. We saw the old Philadelphia Eagles who were like kind of that with Chip Kelly. They try to tire you out play after play, speed guys. And this is what I think the way this team is kind of built too as well.
You talk about tiring them out. Well, don't worry, because Mike McDaniels and his offensive
He doesn't
genius
tire out
mind,
either, Joe. That dude's a maniac.
he drinks energy drinks. He definitely probably drinks Rays too. So
Yes.
but my thing too is with Mike McDaniels is that he's so creative and has such tremendous offensive aptitude that he's able to come up with a lot of these very creative plays that nobody really has seen before. And when you double that with the fact that the offense that he's got to work with, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, now Odell Beckham Jr., but I get it. We got to see if that guy stays healthy. If he does, then this offense just doesn't have speed up and down the roster, but also you got to contend with dealing with Mike McDaniels, creative genius in terms of his play calling. You go beyond that, they got a very solid offensive line. I know there was a lot to be said in the offseason. People were doubting this offensive line, saying, well, they took a step back in that category and they're not as strong as they once were. Well, I don't see it personally. I feel like they not only brought in other vets, but that just slid their starters to become backups. So in essence, I think they upgraded more than anything. Isaiah Wynn's going to play left guard for them. Aaron Brewer, who is a veteran center, comes over, takes over for Liam Eichenberg. Robert Jones is going to, replace Robert Hunt at that right guard spot, and Austin Jackson, who yes has been injured. This is the year where it's kind of like decision time for Austin Jackson. He has to prove that he's going to be healthy. He has to prove that he's going to be there for the long haul, and if so, he could earn himself a new deal. Beyond that, you look at the running backs, and holy Santa Claus shit. The running backs are so deep. Raheem Mostert, super fast, had a great year last year when he came back from injury. Devon Chain got injured last season too, but man, in a limited role, that kid was like, he was breaking fantasy football. He was breaking the hearts of other fantasy football people that had to face him, because he was scoring something ridiculous like 30 points on average, or like it was insane until he happened to get a little bit injured. And then they also drafted Jalen Wright, who is seen as one of the better running back coming out in this draft. And you put all three of them together. Good luck trying to deal with all of that with Mike McDaniels and his creativity. Tua Tagovailoa is looking for a new deal. They're working on it as we speak. Do they get it done before the season? That's the hope. But again, a contract year. You gotta know Tua's going to put on a great performance for them, like he did last year. So you mix that all together, and I'm telling you right now, you're going to have a high flying, high performance offense that like no other. I know it's predicated on health, just like any other roster is. But man, this team is super difficult to deal with when you have to deal with everybody at 100%. So I just think that I don't view this team. I think this team got better than last year. And I think that I'm looking for this team to kind of make a little bit more of a push.
Yeah, and that's, you kind of touched on it quick. And by the way, thank you for carrying me again. I'm having major issues here with my chest. But as far as this is the storyline that's going to happen throughout the season game. Like you said, people are focusing on the offensive line. Offensive line, if they give up hits on Tua, he starts playing poorly, possibly gets injured. There you go. It's all in lines of where he's trying to play for that contract. And if he happens to get injured, it's where they're going to, the talking heads are going to be like, well, there you go. See, injury prone, not worth a bigger contract, blah, 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 all this other stuff. But Tua, I think in the last couple of years have shown you with,
100%.
with talent around there, he can do it. I mean, I
Mhm.
think that what his numbers last year early on before, a certain point, but still even too when he finished off the season was still near the, MVP talks. I think he played very
Yeah.
well,
He
and that
was the
offense was
leader
going.
halfway through the season. He was the leader for MVP.
Right, right. So I think I could see this again, back to back seasons for him, and what kind of lucrative deal that could lead for him. We'll see throughout the season. Well, I think that's one of the conversations that can be had too with this team is,
Yeah.
do we see a restructure during the season before it gets too long? Or, is it like an after the regular season's over, and into the playoffs? So that would
Mhm.
be an interesting topic to see unfold, before our eyes here. But the Miami Dolphins, I really like what they're doing here. And I think they've got a chance to dethrone those Buffalo Bills this season.
Hey everybody, this is Big John from Grumblings Media, and I just want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our efforts here at Grumblings Media, just smash the subscribe button right here, totally free, or just go ahead and consume more of our great content. Click either one of these two boxes.